Hey guys, welcome to my first video log in a long time. It is August 16th, 2012. I think my last one was in February, so I thought I'd try to get back on the horse and do this. Today I'm going to talk about Geek Girl Con. First of all, it was great. Hands down, no issues, great. I'm really glad Tineke and Shelby got me interested in it. I'm going next year. LARPing, I'm probably going to put to the side because I really find I like going to cons. I like panels. I like the idea of getting costumes together that don't have to be LARP friendly. I don't have to make them boffer safe, and they can be really cool. So I think I'm going to really start focus on that. So this is about Geek Girl 2012. We went to 9 panels. They were great. We had a couple disappointing panels I'll tell you about, but overall really good. So the first panel we went to was Moffat's Women, Companions, Travelers, Gender Roles, and TARDISes in the World of Doctor Who. Got to see the panelists were great. They talked about the way Moffat writes compared to the way Riley, I think, Davis. I don't know who the other guy was who was running the new Doctor Who before Moffat, because while I watch all the shows, I'm really not that of a Doctor Who head, I guess. The panelists were great. One of the panelists seemed a little aggressive, but that's because I'm cis white male and I get a little defensive, and I shouldn't be, because she was great. I got to talk to her later, got to understand where she was coming from. So the panel, great. There was Alan Kinsler, Milei Yamamoto, and Teresa Jacino. I'm not sure who she is. I'm not familiar with all the people. The second panel I went to was a little bit more of a disappointment. It was from Jedi Princess to Sith Witch. It was supposed to be an exploration of female characters in Star Wars, and it was put on by some of the bloggers from Fangirl blog, Star Wars blog. The panel was kind of a disappointment, though, because every time a big subject came up, like the Slave Leia issue and like the whole controversy around Slave Leia for feminism, she wouldn't talk about it. She said, no, I've covered that in my blog in a several-part series, so refer to my blog, go back to my blog and read those articles. And that was pretty much her pat answer for most everything. While it's nice that they tell you who their favorite characters are and go a little bit in depth, it was a disappointment that there was so much referring back to the Fangirl blog, which I'll read now because I'm kind of curious, but I probably won't go to another panel that's manned by her. So that was a disappointment, my second panel in, but the third panel made it all worth it. Go Make Me a Sandwich, Barriers to Women's Participation in Online and Fan Spaces. It was really good. Anita Sarkeesian was there, did the Kickstarter project, and got a lot of flack from MRA advocates, men's rights activists. Got a lot of verbal abuse, a lot of threats, had a video game made of beating her up. And I don't understand people because they're upset that she's going to review the sexism, and then they do something super sexism and super threatening. And it's just like you're underlining your point. What are you doing? Are you even thinking about this? If you're going to react in a violent way or in an aggressive way, maybe she needs to do more reviews. And I'm totally backing her. I think that's great. There's a couple other panelists, including one of the creators of Fat, Ugly, or Slutty. It's a blog where they post basically screenshots or videos of the abuse that women receive in video games. And I knew that it was there, and it is not 12-year-olds. Everybody wants to say, oh, it's just 12-year-olds. No, the ones I've seen in the past all were males that were in their 20s or 30s. They're assholes. Overall, I just think it's kind of a shame. But especially since Cannibal has to go through it, and she doesn't play first-person shooters anymore because of it. And we played a lot of Counter-Strike. She played on my server for a while, had a lot of fun, and then the assholes came out, and I ban them. The second I see them, I ban them. So I think that's why half my clan ended up female. But still, there's a lot of sexism, and it really pisses me off. So that was a really good panel, kind of went over the problems they go through and how to address it. The fourth panel for the day was Misogyny Online. It was a great panel. Rebecca Watson and several other panelists. Rebecca Watson from Elevator Gate fame. I'm really open-minded. I've never thought a woman couldn't do anything. And actually, honestly, most women are better mechanics than me. I'm like Cannibal. She does the mechanics. She does her duty's bug duty. I don't mess with bugs unless she can't reach them. I hate bugs. So I mean, I've never had a weird ego about being male. But even sitting through that panel, I can see how I've kind of still followed through on some of the sexist things. Not a lot, and I'm not actively sexist, but enough that it made me kind of realize that I still need to police what I do. And maybe I'll start doing a blog from that perspective, a separate blog just about that, and about what I see from my very privileged arena. The only privilege I don't have is class, but I'm white, I'm male, I'm cisgendered, so maybe that's a good idea. Maybe I should do that. Finally, the last panel of the day was Women in Westeros, is Games of Thrones sexist? Yes. I'm not even sure how you can say no. The panel moderator wasn't able to make it. That was kind of a shame. Caroline Spector and Brett Hardinger were there. I'm not familiar with Brett Hardinger very much, but Caroline Spector used to do a lot of work with FASA when FASA owned Shadowrun. So she did some Shadowrun novels, and she's evidently worked with George Martin in the past. And she's pretty much a George Martin apologist. There's all a plan for all the rapes, and there's all a reason for it. And Hardinger says he hopes there is, but he's not so sure. And Hardinger counted in Feast of Crows a rape every chapter, at least one rape every chapter. That's not telling a story or showing a problem. That's just being giddy and showing the little naughty bits. Not that I've never seen positive lovemaking session in Game of Thrones that I can recall. So she kind of apologized for it. He was kind of more on my side of it. And then we had the neckbeards. The neckbeards came out in force saying, hey, it's all historical. It's based on historical. That's why it's so sexist. And I call bullshit on that. And I call bullshit on anybody who's watching this and calls it historical. He also involves a 700-foot wall that holds out undead. He involves dragons, he involves magic, he involves the Night Watch. He can change historical enough to add those in, then it could have gotten rid of the hardcore rape fantasy. So, sorry, that you can say historical, but then I'm going to point to all the non-historical things into it, and you can pretty much shut the fuck up. So that was the last panel for that day. So it ended kind of on kind of an annoying part, but overall, I love the panels. And then on Sunday, we went back for a few panels. The first panel we went to was When Men Write Women Poorly and How to Get a Clue, Writing with the Y Chromosome. It was put on by Greg Rucka. He's a comic book person. He's written a lot of novels. I'm not really familiar with his work, but I'm always interested in learning new opinions. And so he went through kind of how he approaches it. And he said, everybody does it differently, which I appreciate because that's what I always thought would be everybody does it differently. But the biggest thing that he kind of I took away from his speech was he went on about put your money where your mouth is. Don't support things that are promoting ideas that you don't like. Don't keep giving sexist comic books or George Martin money if you disagree with them, hoping it'll get better, because it won't get better. Why would it get better? They're getting your money anyways, and they're getting all the neckbeard money. Okay, so that was really great. Greg was awesome. Me and Cannibal are gonna look at his stuff, maybe put some of our money that we put towards Martin into that. The next panel was Fate Worse Than Death, The Last Outsider in Popular Culture, Disability. Great panel. A little bit of a disappointment for two reasons. One, they had a lot of physical disabilities. They had no mental disabilities up there. It felt kind of like it was lacking, especially since I'm close with some people with some mental psychiatric issues, and so it was kind of a shame not to see that represented. But the panelists were great. The only disappointment I had was Gail Simone, who's the person for Batgirl in the New 52 from DC. Totally sexist character, totally magically got healed, had the trope that she got out of the chair, which actually, funny enough, the rest of the panel that were all disabled, whether physical or like vision or walking, they all said that they hated that trope where the person mysteriously got better. That's all about getting better or being inspirational. And so it's kind of funny that Gail Simone's there and they're there. And I noticed mostly Gail Simone kind of kept talking up her work, and it just seemed she seemed less focused on the community for disability and more on what she did. But, that's just my issue. The next panel we went to was Intro into Costume and Cosplay. Two young women. It was a very good panel. It was very brief, 50 minutes over the whole idea of cosplay. I wished it was a little more in-depth, but then again, it's an intro panel. Maybe next year they'll have in-depth panels covering things, because I didn't really learn anything, but it was kind of interesting to see what they worked on and what they did, so it was an okay panel. The final panel was From fan fiction to self-publishing, 10 tips from Sarah Wynn. She's a novelist. She's self-published and has actually been selling her novels fairly decently. And she basically broke all the myths that you have to get things professionally done, that you need to send your book cover to get a professional book designer, that you need to have professional editors. Having editors is good, but you don't need to pay $5,000 to have someone fully edit and design a book. You can have your friends do it, and just know that the first few books that you have are just going to be your first few books. It won't sell much. But it was a really kind of interesting panel. I thought it was great to watch her. So I now watch her blog. That was it. It was a great con. I'm really glad they put it on. I'm going to Geek Girl Con 2013, definitely. We're actually even thinking of doing a donation to them, one of the larger donations, just to help them out. And also, I'm hoping to go to more cons during the rest of the year. So that was it. Geek Girl Con 2012. Thank you, Shelby and Tanuki, for even showing this to me. I didn't even realize it was there until Shelby talked about it and invited us on Facebook to it. So you have a good day. Thank you.